Welcome to the Ask Coach Mac podcast, where coaches from around the world get their strength and conditioning questions answered.
What's up, guys? Ron McKeefery here, and welcome to episode number 45 of Ask Coach Mac. Thank you so much for joining me today. We have a great question from Alexandra. Before we get to that, I want to thank today's sponsor, Iron Grip. Iron Grip is the largest provider of commercial free weight equipment worldwide and the only manufacturer with a line of exclusively American-made free weight equipment. Their equipment can be found in premier fitness facilities in over 60 countries, including 3 facilities I've put together. They are the industry leader and my go-to choice for bars, plates, and dumbbells. For more information, go to irongrip.com, follow them on Twitter, or call Chris DeSanto at 509-230-3124. All right, here's today's question from Alexandra.
Hi, my name is Alexandra Francois. I am from Long Island, New York, and my question for Coach Mac is, does the order of strength training and plyometrics affect improvements in jump height in athletes?
Alexandra, thanks for your question. And to be honest with you, the quick answer is yes. I mean, to do plyometrics, before strength training would significantly reduce the jump height, over time. It's really just fatigue on the neuromuscular system. Anytime you do a multiple joint movement for strength, prior to a ballistic movement or something that's going to really tax the neuromuscular system, there's just going to be some reduction in power capabilities at that point. Now, obviously, typically you're going to want to do your neuromuscular high CNS type of activities, beforehand, simply because it'll reduce the risk of injury as you go. Obviously, the more complex the exercise, the more total body, the more fatigued you become, the less focused you become on your technique, and those are obviously when injuries occur. Now, logistically, sometimes you have to throw the physiology textbook out the window and do what makes the most sense in terms of being able to get the most things done in the least amount of time, or rather the amount of work that needs to be done in that allocated time slot. I mean, if we all had one-on-one situations, we had the athletes as much as we want, that's different. But with NCAA rules, with different conference affiliations and rules, and even money or time, then we're often limited. And so it's important to remember that strength and power, they're on the same continuum. You can't necessarily reduce one without or increase one without increasing the other. If you remember the power equation, that's force times distance over time. And so if I increase force in that equation, it's going to increase power. If I increase the distance that I'm able to cover, that's going to increase power. If I decrease the amount of time, that's going to increase power. And so those are your 3 variables. And ultimately, just because you're doing a strength movement doesn't mean that you still can't get power production. It's just, if you're looking at it from a pure performance standpoint, the amount of height that you can cover after having done those, that's where the rubber meets the road, and that's where the detriment really becomes. And so ultimately, you don't always want to do that. You don't always want to train where you're throwing the physiology textbook out the window. But sometimes you're forced to do that just based off of parameters that you've been given. And so I wish there was more to it than that. I mean, at the end of the day, the bottom line is high CNS activities should be done before, and power movements should be being done before strength movements. But it's also important to understand that, strength and power lie on that same continuum. So, Alexandra, I hope that answers your question. I would love to hear what everyone else thinks. Use the hashtag AskCoachMac45 to continue the discussion over on Twitter. Alexandra, thanks for your question. I want to encourage everyone else that if you have a question that you would like to potentially be featured on the show, head over to AskCoachMac.com. There you can ask your question by hitting the record button at the bottom of the page. Thanks so much, guys, for listening. And here's a quote to finish the day by Henry B. Adams. Chaos was the law of nature. Order was the dream of man. Take care, guys, and I will see you in the next episode of Ask Coach Mac. Bye for now.